An exoplanet is the name for a planet outside the solar system, drifting far off in the gravity well of an alien star. And now you are a 10-year-old child on Earth's first exocolony, a world very different from the cradle of humanity, called Vertumna 4. Released in 2022 by Northway Games, Was A Teenage Exocolonist is a visual novel with RPG and deck builder elements. I know the words visual novel will have many of you thinking something like this, but thankfully Exocolonist is different. It fully deserves to be called a game and avoids most of the common, particularly bad anime tropes. You play through the story of your colony, lasting 10 years as you come of age, experiencing a huge variety of events and interactions based on your choices. Choices that in big and small ways affect the people and the world around you, and ultimately decide if your close-knit colony can survive all that your new planet has to throw at you. Visually, the game is a stunning collection of watercolor artworks. From backgrounds to characters and animal designs, they give a unique sense of expressiveness. The way colors don't often quite fit between the lines, and flat, simple colors to leave an impression for my imagination. It often leaves me feeling cozy, and leaves Vertumna looking like a vibrant, natural world. There is a lot of attention to detail in the landscape of the planet itself, with different areas you can go to having very different color palettes and shapes of wildlife and plants. There are 5 different seasons and an area heavily associated with each of them. Each area, and therefore season, has a very different visual guide. The canyons are a reddish brown with a huge number of sprawling vines coming from below and reaching high above you. Their corresponding season is the hot, dry season of dust. Or there is the glow season, where the sky is darkest and the wormhole looms large in the sky, and the bioluminescence of the world lights up in purples and turquoises as plants bloom. The character design is also very well done, covering a wide range of peoples and designs without anyone feeling out of place. Getting new pieces of artwork of your friends as they develop from children to teenagers to young adults was exciting and reflected well on the people you've come to know them as. The music would largely fit perfectly on one of those lo-fi beats to study and relax to channels. The tracks range from okay background music to some shockingly good music. I remember when I first opened the game and was hit with the main theme, I just stopped and listened to it for a while. Becoming and the only song with vocals, The Child You Were, are also particularly fantastic. There is no voice acting, although I think if they ever made a recut that added narrators like Disco Elysium did, it would be interesting.
Spoke to the wildest cop in Rivershaw. He asked us to give his buddy cop, longtime listener Kim Kitsuragi, a big shout out. Kim, we love you.
And I'd like to see how that added to the characters' portrayals. But for now, Exocolonist is more real book than audiobook. Visual novels are often games characterized by a few choices here and there that lead down some branching paths. Often the branches are short, leading to bad ends. From a narrative standpoint, Exocolonist has taken it to its ultimate end. Some 800 or more story events and 29 different endings based on how you played. This on its own is significantly more in depth, but there's also a good layer of strategy in building your RPG stats, and a card game minigame to keep track of. At a high level, you take 10 years to grow up in the colony, each year being broken up to 13 months with specific seasons. Each month you pick to do one activity, from goofing off playing sports, to working as a roboticist, to surveying and exploring Vertumna. Each activity you do earns you stats dependent on the job done, some stress and a small amount of affection with whichever character you worked with that month. Stats are your proficiency in skills like empathy, engineering, or combat, which allow you to pick the better options in story events, along with earning perks with enough of each stat. Perks can affect a lot of different things, unlocking new jobs or gear or helping you in car battles. Stress is accumulated each month as you do things, and once you cap out at 100 you must rest to reset to 0 and carry on. Some nice events will also drop your stress, like having a good hug with your dad. Surveying is an important aspect of this. The game expects you to explore Vertumna, and this job is very different to just a story event with a challenge. You start only being able to sneak out and explore nearby, but over time this develops into the freedom to go anywhere. These areas are whole maps you must walk the paths on listed with events and collectibles. The reason surveying is so important is that these events also give you stats, which means in a single month you can do a lot more stat earning than you would if you went to class for a whole month. The events in surveying tend to only give you a certain type of stat, normally a physical one, but even despite that you still want those sweet collectibles that help with the card game and your relationship building. Speaking of relationships, you have an affection meter of all the children your age. You raise this meter through several methods: conversations and story events, working together on a job for a month, or by gifting them some shiny items. And every 10 points earned unlocks a new scene with the character to get to know them better, unlocking unique CG scenes at the higher levels. My one biggest drawback to Exocolonist is this gifting mechanic. You can gift a collectible every season and again on their birthday, very similar to Stardew Valley. Unless you're really focused on only 1 or 2 people, gifting is mandatory, which for one thing feels very out of place in a story game, but for another is frankly mind-numbingly boring. I wish doing activities with people for an entire month awarded more than just 1 point. Giving someone a good birthday gift is 4 points by comparison. This system is also part of what drags you out to survey all the time, because that's where you find all the collectibles. I like the characters, but man, the system was killing me even on my first playthrough. Then you have the card game. Cards are your memories, big ones and little ones, that you play to help you through challenges. Which from a thematic perspective I adore. All the things and the people you interacted with help you with this moment to push through some difficulty or obstacle. The game itself is pretty simple. You want to get as high a number as you can. Getting the same colours together, or the same numbers, or straights of numbers, all get you bonus points. You can also use the collectibles you find to help you modify the cards. Doing well at the game earns you more stats, first by hitting a super goal, and second by getting the best combinations of cards you could have with the hand you were dealt. Overall, I am a lot more mixed on the gameplay than I am for audio and visuals. I found planning my stat gaining out rather fun, and the card game is fine. The super goal sound is a strong dopamine injection to me. I was definitely into all I was doing on my first playthrough except for gifting. I never found the card game particularly difficult, and over time I began to wish that if I had enough of the stat that the challenge was key to, I could just skip it. You do a lot of card challenges in 130 months of gameplay. There is a skip option for all the card challenges, but it isn't made clear in-game how much the challenge's stat you need, or if harder challenges require more stats. And you do miss out on total stat gain, as you can't do the activity well, or use stat earning cards if you skip it. You don't actually need to hard min-max the stats to achieve most things in-game, but it took quite a while for me to feel comfortable enough to use this option to cut down on time spent. Additionally, surveying takes a lot of your time playing, and even when I capped out the related stats, I still felt obligated to go there to get the collectibles for relationships. Once I realised how important surveying was, it felt like I was trying to find time to do other activities around it rather than what I wanted my character to do. Something like getting one random collectible each time you do a job in the colony would have gone a long way to alleviating this. The story is obviously the focus of everything this game is about. I'll be leaving a huge chunk in the spoiler section, but let's talk about what we can up front. Earth is in climate ruins, and much of the world is also in ruins. The specifics are vague, but your ship, the Stratospheric, is the first ship from Earth with the intent of colonizing another planet. After travelling through some magical wormhole on the edge of the solar system, you end up in Vertumna, mostly. The journey through the wormhole is rough, and your hydroponics and earthling seed banks are ruined. Your parents are both geoponics workers and will be working hard to secure new food resources from your new home. With that backdrop, you are then introduced to 6 of the 10 characters you can become friends with. Cal, Tammy, Mars, Anemone, Tang, and Dis. These guys are the core of your experience and your main connection to the colony. Cal is a strong, friendly, outdoorsy guy. Tammy is a sweet, scaredy cat. Mars is a brusque, outspoken individual. Anemone is a sportsy goofball. Tang is the nerd scientist of the group, and then finally Tang's twin brother, Dis, is the loner. The development of these characters is a bit of a mix. Some get a great deal of important events to affect the flow of the story, and some get none. Mars, for example, is excellent. Her ideas affect the people around her, and she grows very smoothly into something of a leadership position. Conversely, Cal, and a spoiler character, are far too simple. Cal is anti-competitive and a naturalist, and from that quite naturally grows up into a pacifist, work with the planet and not dominate it. But he is never put into position where his philosophy is put to the test. Never does his unwillingness to fight, even in defense, cost him something. It makes him oddly flat and uninteresting. One thought I had is because his desire is so clearly the good outcome, working together being better than dominating, that I wonder if the writers didn't feel a need to defend his position. It makes Cal feel a bit of a patronizing character, and I don't think that was intended for him. It's not just that he is naive. This also has naive and clearly idealistic ideas, but this has a lot more going on to really examine those. They're a mixed bunch, but I did grow to love almost all of them, and you're an oddball yourself anyway, having strange dreams of half-remembered moments. When your dad gives you your 10th birthday present, you realize you already know what it is. As this is explained on the main Steam page, I'll be upfront even though I didn't know this when I started the game. You have memories of your past lives. You'll foreshadow terrible events with nightmares as they approach. These memories allow you to choose a better course for you and the colony. Or rather they will do, you have to have the memory first. This is why the game is meant to be replayed. As you make mistakes and learn on subsequent playthroughs, new opportunities will present themselves, marked with this purple symbol. At the end of the first year in glow season, the wildlife grows restless. They surge in number and attack the colony. You can hide in the creche or be a brave 10-year-old and rush out to the danger, like a piece of bread before a horde of unfed ducks. If all that interests you, maybe you should skip to here for some closing thoughts while I discuss some spoilers that happen later. If you're keeping up with your surveying, you'll also find the last of the 10, Sim, an alien native of the planet whose race call themselves the Gardeners, and Sim has been looking out for you for a long time. Sim is intensely curious about humans, and their love of us is what has so far stopped the other Gardeners from crushing us. The other Gardeners are the puppet masters behind everything. They view humans as an invasive species and a pest to be put down. They are behind the poor growth of food, the increased pollen of the Shimmer disease, and the attacks every year. The ultimate aim of your 10 years is to find some solution to them, to make peace with them, to fight for your right to survival, perhaps to destroy them, or fail and risk being exterminated yourselves. Fighting them is easy. Build up your colony defense and resist the final attack of the game. Making peace or any of the other special endings aside from fight or peace have a lot more hoops to jump through, but that's what your many lives are for, to find ways to manipulate events and find other outcomes. I do have a couple of story nitpicks still buzzing in my head after getting a few endings. Firstly, although replaying allows you to save more people and get different outcomes, the people you save don't do a lot after. Saving your mum and dad feels good, but they barely talk to you afterwards, which kinda feels lackluster. Tammy is the only exception, as a full relationship is possible here that you could never have the first time around. Secondly, the story is a bit blunt about fighting bad and harmony good. I generally agree with the message, but it doesn't seem fair that Sol can lose a lot to the Gardeners, but they aren't allowed to get upset or blame them, or just generally justify themselves for why they should fight. Instead, Exocolonist comes dangerously close to suggesting that the best ending is the one where we nearly completely submit to the Gardeners, and trust in them and their benevolent dictatorship of humanity. You could say that I'm not being entirely fair. We do have some negotiations on rights, like the right to keep having children at all. This ending is supposed to be the end of a major theme of the game, learning to work with our new planet in order to not repeat the mistakes of Earth, and as a result, the language used treats it positively. Now again, I agree with the idea being presented here, but this ending has us end up being little more than useful pets to the Gardeners. I wouldn't be quite so frustrated by this outcome if the writing was more realistically negative about it, as it is when you instead choose to fight them. And then we could have some true special ending that shows that the true partnership requires mutual respect. But without that ending, the idea of harmony became buried, and the message instead became that we should submit to the chains of our natural world, as this will of course be better for us, and we couldn't trust humanity to change or improve anyway. Despite this, I did find overall that the story was a solid enough, enjoyable experience for me. Moments of grief, hope, curiosity and heroism can all be found as you grow up into an adult on Vertumna. The gameplay outlives itself a bit, but I'm a lot happier to have it than not in a visual novel. And the presentation in visuals and audio is amazing, which, when considering the core team listed in making this was a total of 11 people, is particularly impressive. If you enjoy narrative games, this one, in my opinion, is fully worth its Steam or GOG price tag, a surprisingly unknown gem of a game, and a big thanks to my partner Myth for pointing this one out to me. Up next, we're on a boat, and something is spoiling my late night fishing. But until then, thanks for watching.